Yo, this Jay-Z situation with Foxy Brown is gonna always come back up. And the fact that now that she's getting ready to release a Hulu documentary about her life and her journey in this music business, a lot of people think that Jay is gonna be the target. And people said he used to pick her up when she went to high school and visiting house, night classes. He used to pull up for her. Biggie used to pick her up too, but they was friends. Jay was the lover. It was all these crazy rumors about Jamie Foxx and Jay-Z had a train on her. All kind of crazy stuff. And they just will never let any of this go. Fox have had to come out and defend Jay-Z on many of occasions. But there was a time Jay-Z didn't have her back, and it hurt her really bad. It was when he put Little Kim in the video. Well, he didn't. She's up there while he's singing the lyrics, give it to me. And Little Kim is in the video, and he's up there with her. That hurt Foxy, because that was in the height of their beef. And it was like, wow, you would do that? And Nas the reason that a lot of that came through. Because a lot of people thought about it, but they let it go. And then when he started throwing that up on Ether, then it became like re-enterprise. Like, man, they like, oh yeah, I forgot about Foxy Brown. So then that came up. So all of this noise was happening. People were there. They looking for a reason to go back to say, oh, you was weird back then. But I told y'all, man, Fox messed around with everybody was older than her. She dealt with hustlers. She dated Haitian Jack. She dated all of these dudes who was older than her. She rode around with ballers and hustlers. It was like she was a street girl. She hung around street dudes. And that's just how it was. And it is what it is. Now, Jay is somebody that's just, he's going to do what he do. Don't worry about Hove. He ain't worried about none of this. He going to survive it. And that's that. Wendy Williams, who was cool with Nas, would always bring up the situation you know, with Jay and Fox. Jay hated Wendy Williams, just like Puff. But Nas was cool with him. And Wendy was crushing him on the radio at the time. She would often bring that up about Fox. And Jay pretty much tried to keep her and kept her in a whole bunch of contracts, and made sure Fox was taken care of. Jay would make sure she would, you know, stay, taken care of and stay paid. And that was essential to him. He wanted to make sure Foxy was cool, like she had her bread and everything. He wanted her to make it. He kept putting her on record deals, and she went deaf, lost her hearing, and he had to take care of that. And she'd get frustrated. And she went to the studio and was gonna like air everything out. And then, I got the song that she sung saying that it was Jay-Z and all that. Because she was like fed up, like she was the one wearing Burberry and all this, and was pissed. He's doing all this for Beyonce. And you old news, she fizzled out. But Jay was always trying to keep Foxy around because Foxy know too much. You know what I'm saying? You can't take her out, but when she had to do the jail time, Jay, he wasn't by her side. She did the bid. She was on her own. Jay was like, that's on you. And he basically abandoned her. This ain't just your label mate. This is somebody you are entwined with. Y'all got business together. So naturally, when you see somebody you're in business with, and you're like, okay, then you are in business. This ain't some regular thing. This is a thing of business. Then there's Jamie Foxx and Jay-Z together, slept with Foxy Brown. Jay is not that dude. Y'all don't know who y'all think Jay-Z is, but he's not no threesome type of dude. He's not built like that. You gotta understand, he's a narcissist like that. He don't want to be around no other. He's got too much competitive, jealousy in him to be doing some stuff like that. And narcissists ain't finna do that. Narcissist is not finna be there with another man, with another woman. His ego couldn't handle all that. Foxy, I mean, look, she's a grown woman. So at some point, you gonna understand that it's more than that. Dame saw what was going on. Like, Dame know what's up. But Dame ain't gonna really talk about that because he was dating Aaliyah, who was like considered to be too young for Dame. Yes, there were a lot of women in our high school who dated older men. They were dating teachers. Students were dating teachers at my high school, so none of this was unusual for me to see all of this happen. Some girls were adults, forced to be adults at teenage years. Hell, I knew a girl at 13, 14 who was doing you know, like easy bake oven, and then you got another girl that's 14. She's out riding with hustlers in the hood who got rims, showing off her body, because 9 times out of 10, daddy ain't around. So when that start going out, you start seeing what it is and going from there. Start seeing what they doing, the whole nine. Then when Jay and he seen Foxy and Lil Kim, who they stayed at each other's necks. You know, they was at the 45 King's house in that little tiny ass basement, listening to tracks, listening to beats, and they getting into it over there. So that was the crazy thing, is that Kim was, Foxy Brown was gonna be with Big. She was gonna be in Junior Mafia, and that's a whole nother situation. Little Kim came along and got put in the group, but Jay had kicked her out. Like, this is what y'all ain't realize. Before they started recording and all that, right? He kicked her out the group and was like, "Look, I'm gonna replace your ass with Foxy, because I'm tired of this shit." That's how it was going. Then Foxy kept going to jail and all this other stuff later down the road. But you see why Jay, you could see why Jay had to do what he did, and this whole Jay-Z R. Kelly thing, and he did 2 albums with him, and Nas called him out. And he said he learned when he was in Chicago, when they was making the video, he just said dude was moving in a weird way. It's just real crazy. Jay is, Jay is Jay. Like Foxy will tell you, he don't get out his bag. Like if he don't ever really show you he's rattled. He don't like to show that to people. But when he does get rattled, you'll know because he'll mention it in his rhymes. So it's like, oh, he heard me. He heard me. And that's how Jay normally communicates and get it off his chest. But normally he doesn't, speak. But when he's disturbed or something's disturbing him, he's got to say something. He's got to make it public so people know it's from Jay. It's real. It's been addressed. And that's that. Fox Boogie has been misunderstood her life, her whole life. She's been overly sexualized. She's been thrown in movies. She's been put in affairs with Jay-Z, all these rumors. And she's never had a real life of her own. Since the movie Foxy Brown came out, black exploitation movies, they have always been known to be the hoe. And all of these labels in these films. So, super black female were jumped into the stereotypical roles and position. They have a beautiful woman who's also strong and powerful show up in these films. And these characters take their own life and just jump off the screen. Now, what the world didn't see and didn't want to see was the fact that there was so much black exploitation going on in these films, but one stood out the most. Pam Grier's Foxy Brown. And Pam Grier was it. Black men couldn't resist her. Black women wanted to be her. Pam Grier as Foxy Brown set a stage of tough black woman taking control and doing what she wanted to do her way. Now, she was a superwoman. And that's when people started to see the evolution of black empowerment. So when Inga, Foxy Brown, took the name, she was taking it from that. Marcus Miller, her mom was a teacher, immigrants from Trinidad and Tobago. So it was Fox and her brothers. And that's pretty much when she went, her brothers was with her. Mm-hmm. Right. People walk you everywhere, Guys used to walk you to your corner, to your bus stop to make sure you were safe. Back in this era, black folks knew they had each other's back. They had to. You got somebody there with you. In case something go down, it's gonna have to go down to both of us because we here together. And they don't even know each other, but they knew they were black. You kind of miss those times. And then she started dating Haitian Jack, who you all know from being side by side with Pac. And he was significantly older than her. Taking her to Jacob's Jewelry, all this stuff. She was a good girl, gone bad. Fox was on her own projection, you know. And being poor through Brooklyn, she didn't want that life. And men used to clamor over her since she was young. So she started wearing some makeup and all this stuff when she was a really young girl. Going out, trying to talk to dudes, but she was tough. She wasn't a punk. Like, she wasn't a ditzy little girl. She had her soft side, but she was tough. Tough as nails. And that's just how she was. She was straight, rugged, like almost like one of the dudes. Yeah, she had a deal with a record company but got dropped early on. Tone and Pope caught the attention of her, and they was working on the Mr. Smith album, and they did a remix of I Shot You to promote Def Jam's new artist. And LL ended up putting it on his album. And that was basically the first time she was out there. And then Foxy Brown was the name, and yeah, Fox is something else. And Foxy got in touch with Pam Grier to make sure it was okay with her if she was to use the name. And she said, well, you can have it if you elevated the name. And she said, you did. So, yeah, so Fox ran with it and she was doing her thing. She has some insecurities, or, she's an adolescent. She's a teenager. So she's going to have emotions. She's going to have days where she's not as nice as people would want her to be for that moment in time. And she's been put in an adult world. And even though she acts the part of being an adult, she still has kids and adolescent tendencies. And a lot of people wasn't patient with her. They want her to do this, wear less clothing and environments that wasn't good. It was like freezing cold. And you want her to be outside and basically almost nothing but a thong and something else. And it was like, what are you doing? You had her in a room full of Asian men. That was Russell Simmons' weird obsession with Asians and stuff. Made the China Doll album and just went with all this China and had these weird Chinese looking men hanging around Foxy. It was really like he was setting her out on display. Yeah, that whole thing was not her at all. And she was like, I can't let them put me in this box no more. So when she was 16, she had got with Jay-Z to make this song. But the thing is, um, Smooth the Hustler wrote her parts. He was the writer for Foxy Brown, you know. And Jay would have some that he would write, but mostly her writer was him. Jay couldn't get a deal, but Foxy could. And the fact that she was able to get a deal and Jay-Z, they weren't interested in him. And Smooth the Hustler got signed. And Jay couldn't get signed. Everybody was calling for Fox. So when she first came out, everybody wanted to make her a star. While they were grooming Little Kim, and they watched the Little Kim, the way that was going with Junior Mafia, they were like, okay, it's okay to make women be sexy and talk like just like the men. They modeled Fox's career after Little Kim. That's what Russ was doing. She represented the dark-skinned chocolate women that were beautiful, and Little Kim had mostly the light-skinned community. Like they looked at her as the light-skinned version, but Fox was like, she was it. She was the one. Oh, they love Foxy. So the week before they dropped, Little Kim dropped her out. It was number 11 on the charts. And then Fox came out with her album, and they both did a photo shoot together for The Source. And they shared the spotlight as these two female rap artists are going to go to the top. But Little Kim was already featured on some Junior Mafia songs because she's in the group Junior Mafia. So she already was standing out before her first solo release. So they were close friends at one time, trying to push each other to go forward. They was in The Source. They did this, and it was only shortly after two Brooklynites ended up, it just went left. And it started with the tour. Big had just passed. Kim was not in a great mental space to really be on a tour. But it was more of a distraction from her being at home, dealing with Biggie's death. And Fox was just not happy with her role in the lineup. And then she's teamed up with Nas and AZ. She's doing They the Firm. They got this big Firm album coming out. And all of these record labels are on the Firm. And the trio is going out. And they trying to do this mafioso thing. Jay-Z is trying to get through the door, doing whatever he can that Puffy can guide him through. Then you got all of these people falling in line. And the album don't really take off. They're only on like maybe 3 songs on the album. And it features a whole bunch of people that's not Nas, Fox, and AZ. So you're like, wait a minute. I bought this CD, like, listen, wanting to hear Fox, Nas, and AZ. Who the hell is this dude? Oh, it's Nori. What the hell is he doing on these songs? You got you got like, where are the damn, the Firm? Like, where are these dudes at? Then Corrupt comes along, and he just starts crowning Foxy's the greatest female writer. She writes her own rhymes. And I'm like, what is he lying for? And she fell in love with him. And when she fell in love, she fell hard. Corrupt was her real first, like, love. And she didn't want to lose it. And when they went to Cali and she saw Pac and all that, she wouldn't let nobody disrespect Pac no matter what he was saying. You know, like, look, those are two men, let them handle their things. Foxy never got involved in that. And she had to hold that down on the East Coast, which caused people to dislike her a lot and boo her because New York felt the way. Because they felt like Tupac was coming after New York after listening to Hit 'Em Up. And you can hear today, that still goes on today. Now, a lot of people looked at them as beautiful without cosmetic surgeries. They didn't need it. They didn't need any of it. They didn't have to have the body of all these other for people to think they were beautiful. But during that tour, Foxy decided she was mad about her lineup and her place in the lineup. So she copied the same set Little Kim was doing for her, you know, story and all of that. And it went on from outfits, stealing outfits, to she stole my intro. She stole Little Kim's performance. When Little Kim come out on the bed, they would have the bed come out on the set. All of a sudden, Foxy changed her set and stole Little Kim's set and did it before Little Kim. So, you know, she's messing up the show. And now it's like, look, you can't copy somebody else's set. Let's take this disrespect. So she ended up leaving the tour with Jay-Z. Both of them left the tour and got off the tour and went and, you know, Fox just left because Jay was leaving. Jay was like, this ain't doing nothing for me. So she went to go follow Jay's guidance and make a crappy video for an effed up song. And she did it for free. And at this time, Fox is an established artist. Jay-Z got a hot album, Reasonable Doubt, that came out, but it didn't make any money. So at this point, you know, they try to bring in everybody else. And Fox felt betrayed when they brought in Emil. It's like, wow, you trying to replace me. You know, like, that's crazy. You said you believed in me and everything else, and you bring in Emil, and you don't bring me in when she's already on Def Jam. So she's doing her thing, and as soon as I told you they did the whole China doll thing on the second album, she had just turned 21. It debuted at #1, and then it was number two right behind. She was right behind Lauryn Hill's album. Then, you know, all of these people like Kim Osario didn't like her and claimed that she was attacked. And a lot of these people, there's so many stories of DMX, the whole she slept with DMX, Fox is the one that ratted her out, and all of this stuff was not true, is what she was saying. X is like, I didn't even do that. I did not cheat with Foxy Brown. So now it's come out, it's a problem. You know, the engagement is off with Corrupt. He moved all the way back to Philly to be close to her because she didn't like being on the West Coast with Suge Knight and all that craziness going on. And this is right before Pac died. He left Death Row to go over there to be with her. He was leaving. So he was the first one to really get up out of there. Her life was in danger, but not in danger. You know, like they were. Suge didn't like the fact she was trying to split the row up, but Suge is looking at him. But when Pac got killed in the middle of that, it made it clear he was doing the right thing. It was made very clear. Now, Broken Silence is her best album. She was back to doing her. She was dating bands at the time. She was back to being Foxy Brown. That was the time she was back to being herself. But, you know, her masters getting shifted around and fighting with, you know, her record label, Il Nana, and how disrespectful it's been with Leor was sabotaging her fourth album. And she ended up having to leave Def Jam because of it. Now, I'm going to tell y'all what really went on behind that scene. Now, the thing is, Jay-Z was a part of that sabotage. Leor was like, look, she's trying to lead the label, but I'm not finna let her release an album that she ain't gonna promote to keep her name out there and do this and that. So she wants you on the album. I need you to stall her out. You know, don't get on that album. And he did just that. Jay followed Leor's advice and direction, and Jay-Z was retired and became president of Def Jam. He sold everybody out. He got DMX out of there and got DMX. He's like, I'm gonna take care of your tax situation. Don't worry. And you out. You off the label. So imagine getting rid of one of Def Jam's top selling artists, DMX. Get him off the label. It wasn't like X wasn't selling records. He got him out the way. So all of a sudden, you know, Jay-Z was finna take Foxy under his wing again and act like he was president of the United States of America. And he was him, LeBron, Kanye, and Fox. He had signed LeBron James to Rockaware. It was the craziest thing you've ever seen for an album cover or anything. Then her aunt died, who was very much close to her. And, you know, she went deaf for a while. She couldn't hear anything. And, yeah, she was recording Black Roses, her album. And she went deaf. And it affected the way she speaks and everything, because when you can't hear what you sound like, you don't know what's going on. Like, you can't fathom what's happening with everything that's being detailed. So she kept fighting cases. She started having, like going to prison for violating incidents, and she just spiraled down. And instead of Jay-Z coming to help her or someone coming to her aid, they left her there. So her documentary is gonna be crazy. So I think it's not just gonna be about her and Jay-Z. If it is, then that's a shame, because it shouldn't be. So her life is very interesting. There's a lot of people whose lives were altered just being around what was going on with Fox. So just keep that in perspective. It's your boy Carcino. Happy 2025. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And I'm out. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.